The plot summary for Negre. So it all takes place in the harsh post-war years in the Catalan countryside. The tale begins with a man named Dionys leading his horse-drawn wagon through a dark forest when he gets attacked by an individual in a hooded cape. The person in the cape ends up killing Dionys and then leaves the horse-drawn wagon with Dionys' son inside of it to a cliff where he pushes off the wagon. Then a little boy by the name of Andrew comes along and discovers the wreckage and manages to see Dionys right before he dies. He says one word before he dies, and that is Pitor, which is the name of a ghost that exists in their town that haunts a cave. The town mayor suspects that Farriol, the father of Andrew, is to blame for the murder of Dionys and his son. Farriol happens to be Dionys' business partner as well, so it's an easy setup. Then it comes out that the reason the mayor is so inclined to set the murder of Dionys on Farriol is because he and Farriol had a competition to win the heart of Florencia, Farriol's wife and Andrew's mother. Fearing for his life, Farriol decides to move to France, sending Andrew to live with his relatives in Vic, a city on the Catalan countryside. Andrew does not really like the new household at all, seeing that it's primarily made up of women, but he does get along with his orphan cousin Nuria. Andrew starts to see the real secrets of his new family, and he starts to find out that his family isn't as pure and good as he thought it was. His aunt Enriqueta is carrying on a secret affair with a civil guard, and Nuria is engaging in sexual games with her teacher at school. As the story goes on, Andrew discovers that his father hasn't really left the countryside, but is in fact hiding in a farmhouse attic. When the mayor discovers that Farriol is hiding there, he orders a search of the attic, and Farriol gets arrested. When he's arrested, he sends Andrew to tell his mother, Florencia, to get the influence of the Manubans, a family that his family looks after the countryside home of and is the richest family in the region. So Florencia then pays her a visit with Andrew, and Miss Manuban reluctantly agrees to write the mayor a letter. Now here's where the demons and the weird things come into play. Andrew discovers that his mother actually knew Pitor, the ghost that was mentioned at the beginning of the story. When visiting the cemetery, Andrew and Nuria encounter Pauleta, who was Dionys' half-demented widow. Pauleta then tells them that Pitor was the homosexual lover of the only brother of the Manubans, and because of this, he was castrated. She implies that Farriol had something to do with it. So Andrew and Nuria go and explore the cave for themselves, where Pitor was castrated, and he finds that the name of the two culprits were painted on the wall, Dionys and Farriol. It turns out that Farriol and Dionys were paid by Miss Manuban to scare off Pitor, but things went a little bit too far, and they killed him. Farriol is then sentenced to death. After his death, Pauleta tells Florencia and Andrew that Farriol was the killer of her husband and son solely because he was following the orders of Miss Manubans. Miss Manubans hired Farriol to kill Dionys because Dionys was blackmailing her. The rich lady had bought the silence of Farriol in exchange for the highest education for Andrew. So this is where the story gets a little bit sad, because Andrew really begins to reject his family, and it shows at the end of the story when Florencia, his mother, comes to see him at boarding school, and one of Andrew's friends asks him who it is. Andrew just then responds by telling him it's just a woman from his town. Thank you.